Hello Reddit readers, today we have stories on the timeline about companies that some people hate. I will not detain you anymore. Like and subscribe to the channel. Enjoy watching. Story 1 from user Hammer of Science. It was kind of hilarious going in as a Brit. I was traveling and needed a doctor's appointment procedure in the UK. Phone doctor. Get appointment. Sometimes a challenge, I will grant if necessary. Get referred to a specialist procedure in the USA. Phone insurer. Get list of hospitals, phone first. Hospital get told they don't in fact take my insurance. Phone. Second hospital get told. Same but only after turning up. Fly to Texas. Work get told by third hospital. All told to me by my insurer. That would be fine. All say they are not in fact fine. Phone insurer from hospital. Go berserk on them and inform them that they are in fact paying this bill. Because I'm not going to a fourth hospital. Get seen. Apparently I was fine. But my blood pressure was a bit high, so I needed to be medicated. Asked how much the medication would cost. Found out. It was expensive. Phoned my GP at home. Told it's not that critical. Just sort it when I could. And that the medicine is about a tenner a month in the UK. Get called by collections from the hospital. Because of reasons when I paid the bill on the way out of the hospital. But apparently they forgot to charge me for something. Tell them to off phone insurer. Tell them that they did not in fact pay. Tell them that I will now be agitating for my employer to stop using them. Phone hospital. Grudgingly pay balance claim costs from my employer. I spent at least 10 times more time talking to people about money than the doctor. Why the hell do you guys put up with it? Story 2 from user Bread Nugent. I feel bad for couple. I went to high school with him from a small town. So most people that don't leave after high school just fall into the local jobs available and end up in the same place their parents and grandparents were in socioeconomically speaking. So the husband ended up getting a scholarship for basketball, and after he earned his degree, he moved back home and landed a damn good job with the city, reconnected with his HS sweetheart. And after a few years, they had like 5 kids, built a nice house with a mother-in-law suite. From the looks of it, life was good, and they were moving on up in life. The husband's job was basically being in charge of the cities, recreational areas, and parks. He was good at it too. One thing I should mention, my hometown is 49 white, 49 Mexican, and 2 other. Historically, the local higher-paying jobs have always been filled by people who are considered white, while the lower-paying jobs were held by Hispanics with few exceptions. We had a Hispanic mayor once, but he was considered white. I should point out the husband from the couple that this is about is Hispanic, and a few shades darker than anyone who ever held the well-paying position. He was earning a great living at, I'll call him Fred. For the sake of anonymity, fast forward a couple of years, they sold their house, bought a bigger house, and started opening up these little healthy smoothie cafes in our town and in the surrounding smaller towns. I really only visited home for the occasional reunion, funeral, or wedding, so most of what I saw was via social media. Then COVID happened, and I had to move into my childhood home and live with my mom and dad to get my life back on track. During the few months I lived back home, I started to hear whispers. Yeah, Fred's a great guy. But now, every time we see him, he's always trying to sell us on, buying his healthy shakes or supplements. Sure enough, a few months later, he gets fired from a great paying job because of this Herbalife shit. I eventually blocked them both on socials because all they do is spam their friends and followers with shitty sales tactics to make matters worse. Him, his wife, and everyone they had ever posted as part of their group are all very much overweight, but they're always in workout attire, and half their videos were always them working out or making detox teas and smoothies. The other half of their videos would be about work trips. I never understood it because a lot of us see work trips as a mostly unnecessary hassle. And getting your flight, hotel, food, transportation, and time paid by your employer are the bare minimum. I couldn't believe it when I found out these bozos pay their own flights and hotels to go to these conventions. They're actually circle jerks. In my opinion, I know this comment is long, but I had to get this shit off my chest and hate talking about people I know to other people we know. So just anonymously sharing it with strangers on Reddit helps. Last part. I ran into them at the grocery store and they tried to pitch Herbalife to me, and that was the last time I saw them. Sad. Story 3 from user Rody114. Bayer is my top answer as well. The HIV-tainted hemophilia meds thing was absolutely vile. But far from the only thing they've done, they also lobbied the German government for the use of chemical weapons during WWI, which they then produced. They've continued deadly gases under the guise of pesticide development long after the world wars in the 80s. It was discovered they hold a patent for their own version of VX nerve gas, committed crimes against humanity during the Holocaust. They conducted human experiments where prisoners were deliberately infected with diseases like typhus, diphtheria, and tuberculosis in order to test new drugs. Bayer also oversaw the chemical factory at Auschwitz in the 1950s and 60s. Bayer's chairman of the board was Dr. Fritz Termeer, a Nazi who was convicted of war crimes during the Nuremberg trials, including 1 count of mass murder and slavery. Don't get me started on how that didn't die in prison. Invented, trademarked, mass-produced, and heavily promoted the use of a drug called diacetylmorphine, better known by its brand name heroin. They've repeatedly been caught bribing doctors to prescribe their drugs off-label or downplay safety risks. Same goes for politicians. They've repeatedly been caught perpetrating Medicare/Medicaid fraud in the US and are the defendants in the largest Medicaid fraud settlement in US history. They wanted to lower the price of Cipro when selling to Kaiser Permanente to avoid getting undercut by a competitor, GSK. However, if you lower the price, you charge a private insurer, you must offer that lower price to Medicare/Medicaid as well. To avoid that, Bayer sold Cipro to KP under a phony new label. They also have a long-standing pattern of inflating the costs of prescription drugs in general. Shocker. Story 4 from user Kevin Anipada. The company we all refer to as Devil Corp. It's not just one company, it's kinda like a MLM or pyramid scheme. They're frequent in RantMLM and have their own sub at our Devil Corp. I worked for a company called Merriam Marketing in Denver. In 2006, I sold office supplies door-to-door to businesses. I had to get to the office at 6:30 a.m., we'd do sales training, then spend 8 hours in the field, knocking doors, then back to the office for 90 minutes to talk about the day. All in was about 12 hours. It paid 100 commission. I got 30 of what I sold in 3 weeks. I made a few $100s. They tell you that in a year, you could be running your own office. Get to give it any name. You like our owner. Samantha Jackson named it after her mom, Miriam. They create this environment of fake cheerfulness with the morning and evening sales training and make you keep that up with one another. They train the owners to have these long days along with company events to isolate people from friends and family. They actually promote cult-like norms, and you get paid next to nothing. But Sam wasn't the real owner. The real company was Sidcor. They let each owner open their own so that people can't track who this one awful company is. I still don't know who the real owner is. We really need a ProPublica investigation on this. Years later, I ended up in an interview with a different company that was selling coupon books door to door. It turned out to be another Sidecor company. The job ad had the trademark looking for former athletes driven to get into direct marketing and advertising careers. I found another one a few years later, but realized before the interview they change names, shutter the business, and open another on a yearly basis so that all the online reviews are erased. The link to Devil Corp above is a WordPress site that helped me find this out and get out. Way back in 2006, they boast Sidcor, Smart Circle, Credico, and Appco Group are all the same pyramid scheme that they dare not take to court if you think you might be working for Devil Corp. I suggest you check out the site. Please upvote to spread awareness. Story 5 from user Express Object 955. Every single goddamn college in America and the price of education. I am sick of people treating college like an esteemed place of value, and everyone forgets that they're a business too. They need to make a profit as well. That's how they expand, and what better way to exploit people than to promise them they'll make more money in the future if they go to their school. However, a lot of people end up doing something they did not go to college for. And most college programs do not teach soft skills. They still add these bullshit core classes, like they do in high school, that you pay for. My issue with this is I interview college graduates that are difficult as sin to work with, egotistical know-it-all brats who think that if they throw enough money at a problem, it'll fix it. And while we're on the topic of money, college sort of works that way. Yeah, if you fail enough, you don't get another chance. But it's also about how much debt you're willing to gamble, or how much money you're going to throw away until something sticks. And while you're paying tuition, let's talk about more bullshit, like textbooks, because the people who paid to go to college and the research worked really hard, and the publishers want a cut of what the tuition is getting. I mean, you're spending thousands a semester. What more is a few hundreds per textbook gonna do for you? Oh, but if you want the best college experience, you gotta come to us. Let's shove you in a tiny room and jack up the dorm price, and then let's not hire a real person to help. Well, just hire a student because they're broke and they need the money. Wait, they live close and they want to commute. Make them pay for parking or write ridiculous statements in our requirements, like how you can't commute to school until your third year. My university did this. Marketing lets pump out a bunch of propaganda of how college changed people's lives and throw in a sob story or two about working parents. Oh, let's be flexible and offer online courses, but charge all the same fees as someone who would come in person, even though we're doing significantly less work. And the student is pretty much teaching themselves the coursework, which is what I did for one semester of calculus. All this to say, you leave with a piece of paper that says, "Congrats, you fulfilled our standards and paid us enough money to earn the right to say, you achieved this. Now go get at least 2 working years of experience before maybe you have an opportunity to interview what you studied for, because you and everyone else had the same exact plan. Make education free and stop gatekeeping. If you want society to grow and advance, empower others." And there's my rant for the day. Not looking forward to paying back student loans in October. Story 6 from user Soul Black Eye. Video game publishers and developers in general, Activision Blizzard. Copious amounts of sexual harassment and assault. Male staffers drank alcohol at work and did cubicle crawls going to different workstations to harass female employees. One higher-up extorted a female employee into a sexual relationship, traded her nudes with the office, dragged her on a trip where she jumped off the hotel roof, taking her own life breast milk theft. The CEO threatened to have his secretary killed if she came forward with sexual harassment allegations. The EOC and DFE filed an investigation and lawsuit that Gavin Newsom tainted and interfered with. Ubisoft's string of sexual harassment cases swept under the rug by CEO tried to pay employees with NFTs will delete your purchased games if you don't log on to their awful third-party storefront. After 6 months, Nintendo basically video game Disney strong anti-union abuses, third-party contractors, abuses copyright laws and fair use policies. To deter news leaks, tracked down a GameStop employee that leaked info on an exclusive Nintendo Switch model and threatened legal action until they were fired, took legal action against a modder hacker. Pirate had him sent to prison, and now he owes them $145 million, garnishing his wages for the rest of his life. I don't care what your stance is on piracy is, but that's reprehensible. Capcom sold games that were essentially blank CDs with code to download the actual game content, sold an entire game at full retail, but hid it behind a paywall. Got caught selling CDs with DLC content already on the disc, and purchasing it unlocked the content you already purchased. Sega hired community managers from 4chan that harass customers and violating their EULA. Doesn't honor GDPR requests from online games. Several employees guilty of inside trade, rumored to have ties with the actual Yakuza Bethesda ZeniMax, outed a trans employee during a conference call, or called them a liability and extorted their medical care in exchange for them leaving the company without filing a lawsuit. There's more. But these are the most notable, recent disgusting acts editing for grammar. Story 7 from user Lord Zippy, McAfee. My dad got this for our devices for 12 months, and it did not work at all when it hit 11 months. And my dad got charged for another 12 months. He tried to cancel it, but they would not let him, even though the next subscription period didn't start for another month. He called their customer service, which took a good 10 mins. So find a phone number, and a foreign man picked up. My dad tried explaining everything, and he was getting nowhere. With this guy, eventually they told him that the cancellation fee was like over 50 of the cost of the yearly subscription, and he said that he was not going to pay that. So they gave him another option of paying the yearly subscription, a small fee, and then it will be canceled after the next pay period. My dad just agreed, because he didn't know what to do. And this is where the weird part happens. The guy made my dad download one of those apps where you can give someone a code and they can control your computer. So my dad followed this guy's instructions, and this random McAfee dude had full access to his computer. I don't know exactly what he did, but I remember he turned off some settings, disabled notification, and deleted all the other virus protection software because it interfered with McAfee's services. Yeah, don't use this company. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and write comments. See you later.